I reckon Sam Laidlow will do really, really well.
What do you reckon?
Or 6. The reverse taper is literally the opposite of what a taper would usually be. So in extent, it's instead of tapering down into an event and resting up for it, you're building into it from a few weeks out. And you're building up volume all the way until the event and trying to get fit, optimize the system and make sure that you're in the right condition to be able to race, potentially because you haven't had the chance to do the sustained volume over the long period of time. My month has been ridiculous. It's been the toughest month of the season so far, I reckon. And it's just been a bit of a seesaw. So essentially what's been happening since Dresden, I've started with not being able to do much volume because my injuries are quite severe. I've been disturbed sleep, I've not been able to be fresh for training, I've had to reduce the training volume in order to recover from the injuries. As the injuries have started to subside, I've increased the training volume. So overall, my fatigue has remained the same. Not to mention the added stress that I've had from trying to get ready to race Portugal. So basically, I've had this seesaw happening, so now I'm pretty tired from training because I've managed to up the volume on this reverse taper sort of scenario. But at the same time, I've not been able to get any fresher, I've not been able to get much rest, because not only is the stress coming down on me, but I'm also getting more tired from the training.
What do you reckon?
502. Or 6.
4.5. Go harder. Ready? That was it. 3, 1.
It's definitely not the ideal scenario. I definitely would not be doing this if I had the choice. So in theory, what I would tend to do is I would keep a consistent volume almost throughout the season. So the winter is usually used so that I can build up that big base volume, the foundations if you will, to be able to sustain the volume over the summer months. So I've still got all of that winter volume which I can fall back on. But what this means is that over the summer months, I'm able to sustain a really good volume to keep the fitness really high so that the level of fitness is sustained throughout the summer and I can perform well in all my races.
My arms.
What do you reckon, Jazz? 5.55. Take a guess about that.
3.6.
Wait. 7. Slow down. Can you give a detailed description of that swim, please, Freddie?
Well, Josh Lewis doesn't have the pace for fucking shit.
Okay, that can't be.
Let's scrap that. Let's start again. So that session was interesting. Josh Lewis went a bit slow on the first rep,
A bit too
hard on the second rep, and then that trend seemed to continue. So as we've just seen now,
Like a yo-yo.
4.5 on the millimole scale.
On the minimal scale.
The millimole scale, yeah. So,
But how do you find it, more importantly?
well, I thought I was getting dropped the whole session, but Luke then told me at the end that I wasn't getting dropped and I was just swimming way too hard. So, yeah, win-win, lose-lose.
Good fun.
Whereas what I'm doing at the moment, the reverse taper, the builder into the race, is usually what you'd see from an age grouper, I'd say. So someone who doesn't have all the time to be able to train, they've built up into a certain event, and they're not necessarily aiming to be competing at a high level throughout the season. It's not sustainable for me because obviously I want to compete well throughout the season. Whereas if it's just one event that you're doing, then yeah, sure, go for it. The reason that I can sort of get away with what I'm doing with the build into this race is because of the previous history with the big volume. So the body doesn't just get unfit, that's not how it works. I've been able to maintain a decent level of volume and fitness throughout So like my smallest week has still been 18 hours, which is great. But obviously I'm used to 27 plus. So I've built back up to that 27 hours. And it's been a real struggle. Like, I only did my biggest swim session, the full 6K big threshold session, in this video, like last week, a week out from Portugal. It's quite worrying, it's stressful because I don't know if I'm going to get like fit, don't know if I'm going to be healthy, prepared for Portugal. It's a nightmare. And all of this stress is causing extra fatigue on me, and I can tell that I'm just thinking about it day in, day out. But this is one big thing that I've become accustomed to over time, is the ability to understand where I can dial in and out, where I can shift my focuses to be able to deal with this. Throughout being injured, I have been able to cope with it mentally. Like, it is really tough to like lose some of the training, be stressed about whether or not you're getting fit in order to be able to compete, because it is my profession at the end of the day. But what I've done to cope with that is to maneuver my focus from the training, the lack of training that I'm not experiencing, into things like Entire, and growing Entire, and building up Entire to be where I want it to be, and put more energy and focus into that to distract myself and get the satisfaction somewhere else, not in training necessarily, in order to be mentally stable and enjoy myself still, so that I can kind of shift the focus away from the disappointment of not being able to train as much as I want to. Which brings me on to a really important point, that it is really good to have things outside of your profession, whether that be in the workplace or whether that be a professional athlete. It's really good to have something somewhere else that you can shift your focuses to and from. I just did a blog about it on the Entire website, so I'll link it below, but do go check it out. And yeah, it's just really interesting because I'm talking to other people and explaining like how I've managed to deal with it, and also how other people can deal with it if they're injured as well. In terms of where I'm at now, I am still fit, I'm still ready to go to Portugal, I'm still aching here and there, but it is what it is. I'm going to be able to get through the race, and I hope to be really competitive. Like, I've been taking lactics, I've been doing good sessions, and it's all here or thereabouts. It's just going to be uncomfortable. But hey ho, like, it is what it is, and I've got to go and do it at the end of the day because it is my profession. And yes, whilst I need to be sensible, I can still do it. It's more than achievable, and I think I'm going to be competitive, like, in one way, shape or form. But yeah, after that it will be a case of end of season, take my break and prepare for the following season. If you are interested in having a bit of help with the training side of things and you want to get a little bit of guidance, have that thing outside your profession which you can invest into, set your project, get your goals, etc, etc, do check out Entire's website. I can jump on a call with you or whatever, and we can discuss how we might be able to help you achieve those goals and integrate fitness into your day-to-day life. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.